Hey everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. Yeah, it's that time once again. Journo Insight with Neil Jones. Here is a clip from that show. Me and Neil chatting about Enzo Fernandez, Jude Bellingham. Can Liverpool sign one? Can Liverpool sign both? Can they get either of them? Let's find out. Enzo Fernandez has been the name on everybody's lips or tweets. Yeah, first of all, he's boss. So it was reported, it was in Portugal and in Argentina actually that Liverpool have had some sort of contact and maybe even an agreement to sign him in the summer. Benfica have already said we're not selling anyone in January unless...
Yeah, they're flying.
Well, I think I spoke to Aaron from Prasima Janada on Expert, and he's basically said Rui Costa come in and his promise to get elected as president was we have to stop being this club who sells our best players. We'll do it in the summer, but we want to win things as well. So he's basically said unless someone meets a release clause, no one's going. We don't need the money. Porto needed the money. Sporting needed the money. We don't. So again, this one, it looks like something, if it is something, heading more towards the summer unless Liverpool are willing to go absolutely mad in January, which I'm not sure they are. But I suppose the first point to call him, he is really good. If you're going to get linked to boss players, that's always a positive because he's had a really good start to his Benfica career. He's looked really good in the World Cup as well. The type of player you could see Liverpool potentially doing something for.
Yeah, his age as well, 21. You know, player of physicality, dynamism, quality, international pedigree now, Champions League experience. Yeah,
from a club who we know.
Yeah, and a good relationship with Rui Costa. Funny enough, you mentioned him. You know, I know Julian Ward's on his way out, but good relationship with Julian Ward. I've heard Julian speak about Rui Costa and you know the conversations in the past. Not anything relating to players, just about. I mean, Julian was involved with the Portuguese FA, so those kind of things. So yeah, there's a lot of boxes being ticked there. Unfortunately, for reasons unknown, I didn't actually get to watch the semi-final of the Argentina game the other day, but I got a few messages off people just saying, Fernandez flames emojis and sort of, how well he's playing and blah 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 blah. No, Messi took all the plaudits, really, the mainstream plaudits, but it felt like Fernandez and Alvarez were the other two.
But doing better since they put him in the team.
Yeah. He come in the Mexico game, didn't he? Score that absolute worldie, and then he's kept his place, hasn't he? And got a chance to become a World Cup winner, hasn't he? Which is, not many people get that opportunity. He looks like a player that really will be in the frame to move to an elite level club. And listen, Benfica are doing really well. We know Benfica are a selling club, and they will never be a club that hangs on to Darwin Núñez and Ruben Dias and anyone else. That's their model. Is they bring in, sell on, find the next one, do the same, and one of the best clubs in the world for it. Benfica and Porto and Sporting, to be honest, are brilliant at it. But we'll see whether Liverpool. Listen, it was the people I spoke to at Liverpool were saying there's no agreement. That's what they said. That is not true. We'll see. Listen, they don't have to tell the truth in situations like that. But I don't think Liverpool are at the stage yet where they've agreed anything with Fernandez or Benfica or both. I think it's just more a case of a player of interest, and let's see what can be done. Like you say, I don't think it'll be January. I think it'll be next summer, whatever he does.
Hey guys, pardon the interruption, just a quick one from me. The new Last Fan Standing show is out right now. Go and check it out. The link is in the description below. So yeah, continue watching me and Neil chat all about Liverpool's midfield. When that finishes, click the link below and go and check out Last Fan Standing.
Look, I think Thomas Tuchel as a coach is a great coach, and I think he would have done a lot better to be Gareth Southgate. The style of football thing is interesting, because would it be a style of football that gets the best out of the attacking players? Would it be a style of football that gets the best out of the likes of Phil Foden and co? I'm not too sure with Thomas Tuchel, but I do think he'd be more successful. I think when you look around, if you're going to go for an English manager, you're looking at Eddie Howe, Graham Potter, right?
Eddie Howe, Graham Potter might not last at Chelsea, so it kind of works as a timeline where Southgate chooses to leave and Potter's ready there. Now, he's a project manager though. He doesn't. I
think he's a better coach than Southgate, but again, it's like he'd probably need some time and stuff. I think.
Does he have the gravitas to deal with those?
I think Pochettino, Tuchel. I even think. This might sound mad. Brendan Rodgers?
Right then, there you have it, another clip from Last Man Standing. Like I said, go and watch me and Neil, then click the link, go and check it out. Tell them in the comment section, tell them the Redmen sent you. If you want to criticise them, do that as well, it's absolutely fine. But yeah, head on over there after you've continued watching me and Neil. Yeah, I suppose when you say like there's an agreement in place to sign, like that could mean a million different things. Like it could be they've given Benfica the heads up, we like him.
Yeah, it could be his agent said he'll bring me back. Like, you know, it's as simple as that, isn't it? You know, like, oh yeah, he's like when you say, oh yeah, he said he's going to come down, you know, to a party or whatever. Yeah, he said he's going to. There's that. I think it was an agreement in principle. I think it was reported. I think another thing to say is Portuguese press. I think it's Jogo and
Record.
Yeah, Record. They're very. We see a lot of big headlines with them. I remember one with Otavio not so long ago at Liverpool. It was sort of Liverpool, I'm going to sign Otavio, another Portuguese international. And I remember Liverpool was sort of, look, we're not, you know, we're absolutely not. I think there'll be others that you can think of from down the years with Benfica Sport and Porto type players, where it can look like on the front page of one of those papers or the back page of one of those papers, it looked like, wow, this is happening. It isn't always the case. I think the Portuguese media are very sort of ravenous over transfer stories and especially links with big clubs like Liverpool, Manchester United, Real Madrid. So I wouldn't sort of pin everything on seeing a page like that. But I think he's a player. Like I say, if you're looking at what boxes a midfielder would tick for Liverpool, I think Enzo Fernandez is in most of those categories. Yeah,
absolutely. It's interesting. Like Liverpool said there's no agreement, but doesn't mean there's. Well, do you must like him because he wouldn't like him?
Well, they'd be silly if they wouldn't. I mean, listen, Liverpool say that quite a lot. You know, you ask about certain players, and it's like, well, yeah, Jude Bellingham. Yeah, Jude Bellingham. Yeah, I think he's a good player. You know, like, it's not really sort of, you know, it's not really a story almost, is it? But I think Fernandez. You know, if you're looking at. If you were a sort of a matchmaker, you'd be saying, well, okay, the team that needs to really sort of add this and this to their midfield, player who can bring this and this. I'll tell you what, we'll try and hook them up. You know, I think that would be sort of an obvious connection to make. There's a few midfielders that fall into that category, but I think he's definitely one, and he's done nothing but good to his reputation in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, we'll do Bellingham chat now, we always do, and then at the end I'll try and tie them both in together. But I thought it was interesting, not so much on Jude Bellingham, but this is more on the chase, I suppose, or the pursuit of Jude Bellingham, for whatever you want to say. It was David Ornstein, he was speaking on the Athletics YouTube, and he basically said, Jurgen Klopp, as he understands, has been leading the pursuit for Bellingham. His power within the hierarchy has now increased with the news. Obviously, you mentioned Julian Ward's leaving at the end of the season. It does. Is that the sense you guys? Well, that this is like a Jurgen Klopp-led pursuit.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think I wouldn't say like it's people are sort of, why does he want? You know, why does the manager want him? You know, I think everyone would want him.
Yeah.
I think maybe the pursuit element is more that how can Liverpool persuade Jude Bellingham to come to Liverpool? Well, what's their biggest asset apart from Trent and Jordan Henderson sort of, you know, chaperoning them round for a month? Maybe Jurgen Klopp is the sort of the joker where you can sort of really sort of make that connection. The power. I mean, the power thing. It's an interesting point, and it's an interesting dynamic at the moment with Liverpool. That obviously the guy who would be leading that process is on his way out. He is still working obviously for Liverpool, Julian, but he's obviously not going to be there next season. The guy who would be the second sort of part of the trio has stepped back and been replaced by someone else in Billy Hogan, so it does leave Jurgen as the one who's really still there from the way it used to be. So I think I wouldn't put it down as sort of Klopp wants Bellingham, therefore Liverpool are going all in for Bellingham. I don't think it works quite like that, but I think if Liverpool want to get Bellingham, I think they need to harness the power of their manager, you know, and his pull. We've seen him do it with other players before. You know, Liverpool have beaten, you know, if you think really, I mean, getting someone like Thiago to leave Bayern Munich, I think Jurgen Klopp played a big part in that. Getting obviously Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, probably Fabinho, I think would fall into that category. I think Jurgen Klopp played big parts in that. Probably even Naby Keita, you know, do you think some of the chances he had to go to big clubs, Barcelona I think were one of them. He's got that sway. Liverpool need to use it. I think he's going to need to use it if they're going to get Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, the power interesting. That is the dynamic, isn't it? Because speaking on the model as a whole, we know nothing's been said about Jude. I think we saw the Sven Minslat rumours kind of get squashed by a few different outlets and stuff, but we haven't really heard anything on replacements or who's even in the frame kind of stuff. Do you think as and when that person is, like, because the narrative that, I don't know if it's been reported as much, but it's like an undercurrent of Jurgen wants to be like Jurgen's going to end up being the main man in all of this now. It's going to be more Klopp led. Is that how you understand it as well?
Well, it stands to reason. You know, he's got that new contract. He is the biggest figure at the club. Sorry, Mo, but he is the biggest figure at the club. He's the sort of the icon that you would use, and the people around him. So Michael Edwards, Julian Ward, obviously Mike Gordon for different reasons are gone or going. But then the overriding thing is what does the club look like? What's the ownership like?
Yeah.
If it's FSG like it is now, then I would expect them to replace Julian Ward. If everything else stays the way it is, I would expect them to bring someone else in. If it changes to a new owner or a new majority owner or minority owner, maybe you might see a different model. But I think what it does bring is opportunity, but I think uncertainty is the biggest one, because not many clubs operate in this method. You know, you can pull a sort of a few strings with. You look at Manchester United and you say, well, that looks like a manager-led recruitment in the summer with Anthony and Lisandro Martinez and Christian Eriksen and people like that, but not many clubs run this way where it's like the manager decides this. There's got to be a sort of a more collaborative effort, and the other thing it does leave is it leaves you really beholden to the manager being at the club, doesn't it? And what happens then when Jurgen eventually does leave, but you know, some way down the line, you're in a position where, right, we need to go back to the drawing board and find out how we sign players again. And you know, does it turn out that all your attraction as a club goes when the manager goes? I think there's a lot of questions for Liverpool to answer on the pitch, but there's even more to answer off it with, in terms of what are they going to. Who owns the club is sort of. I mean, that is just basically so much of what we talk about on this show just all comes back to who owns the club. You know, because you see these stories. I think there was a story that about Liverpool are willing to buy Fernandes and Bellingham for sort of, you know, probably 200 million. Not the moment, surely. You know, with the club up for sale. You know,
I was about to push you on that, because that's what we were going with. Yeah,
it just doesn't. I mean, that would be one of those where you go, really? Because if you're looking to sort of attract new investment and you're looking to maybe sell the club, I think putting £200 million on a couple of midfielders just seems a bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing an obvious point. But so what that becomes then is the idea that maybe they know what's sort of coming down the road in terms of someone's coming on board that's going to give them that money, or they're going to get out and they're going to get rid of the club full stop. But until we know sort of what's going on with that, it makes it a lot harder to sort of get a good read on, well, what are they going to do? Because a lot of things need doing, but when you haven't got clarity over what the company looks like, essentially, it's difficult, isn't it? You know, it's sort of, you know, we've been in those situations where, I mean, I have anyway, definitely, where the company's doing sort of a redundancy thing and that kind of thing, but you're trying to sort out something else. You know, it's like, well, who's looking after that? Well, this is going on. It's just quite confusing at that time. But hopefully, hopefully there's some clarity arriving in the new year, or not too far into the new year. But at the moment, everything sort of has to have that little asterisk next to it, and you say, yeah, Liverpool are interested in this player, this player. Liverpool, you know, want to bring in this sporting director. They want to, you know, move into this kind of sort of strategy. Asterisks. Although it all depends on what happens with FSG and their attempts to sell off part of the club.
There you have it then, a clip from this week's Journo Insight. If you want to watch that entire show, or indeed listen to it in podcast format, head on over to redmenplus.com. Sign up from as little as £5 a month to get that show each and every week, and tons more content as well, both in video and podcast form. So yeah, go and check out the whole show, redmenplus.com.
Get closer to Liverpool Football Club and the amazing city of Liverpool with Redmen Plus. More content for your eyes and ears, documentaries, extra bonus Redmen shows, podcast features, interviews. Get close to the culture of Liverpool Football Club on Redmen Plus.